From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stallinger.
Hey, good evening, everybody. AK Rob hanging out with you. My buddy John's a little under the weather, so just be me tonight. And we got your 2024 LBAA Classic winners, Miss Cheryl Bowden on the pro side and Miss Secret York on the co side. Good evening, ladies. How y'all doing?
We're
fine.
Good.
All right. Happy having you on. Again, congrats. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment, winning championship. I know the weights was pretty tight, and y'all had a good tournament. So we'll kind of get started, and right off the bat, we'll kind of go back and forth. I'll start off with Miss Cheryl. Hey, Miss Cheryl, did you have a plan kind of going in, and did your plan kind of work, or did you have to kind of adjust a little bit?
Well, it had to make adjustments every day. The main thing I wanted to do is I wanted to be consistent. The class is 3 days, so you can't treat it like a sprint, and it's not a mid-distance race. So it's I had to treat it like a marathon, and so just plugged away a little at a time, and I was consistent. So that was one of the biggest keys for me.
Absolutely, and it has to be kind of your day, and but that's great. I mean, it's rarely a plan works out, but that's great. That's can't run that. Now, Secret, same with you. Did you kind of have a plan or idea going in, and did that kind of pan out, or you have to kind of adjust on the fly?
Well, as a co-angler, you can't have much of a plan, so everybody else plans it for you. So, and it's going to be different every day. I did practice with Heather Broom pre-fished, and we kind of seen what it was, and I seen right off that it's going to be hard for the pros to get a limit, much less a co-angler try to get a limit behind them, And they were really small fish, and we discussed it, and I said, 10 pounds a day is going to be pretty good, and that's pretty much what it ended up. Since somebody get that one, a good fish there was 3 to 4 pounds. I mean, I think the big fish was 426, and there wasn't very many fish over 3 pounds weighed in.
Oh, wow. Right. And we already got a first comment. Your fellow competitor, Miss Tricia Payne McGraw, and she says, "Hey, ladies."
Hello.
That's Miss Fisher herself there.
Yeah.
But okay, Miss Cheryl, going on, what kind of recap day one? How'd your kind of day one go, and kind of give us an update how kind of day one went for you and any adjustments you did?
Day one, lights out. I mean, I called fish all. But as normal, my co-angler had she had 2 of her 3 fish limit within the first hour, maybe even faster than that. I finally caught one, and then from there, it rolled times. I think I called 6 times on day one.
Wow.
My big fish was, like Secret said, they weren't huge. My big fish was just under 3 pounds. And I had, I think, 976 on day one. So I was hoping for 10 to 12 pounds, a little under it, but, it worked. And it was all a jig and a fluke bite. Not a jig, not a fluke, but a jig and a stick bait bite.
Yep. That's a good combo this time of year. You can't go wrong with that. But did the winds blow? How was kind of the conditions out there?
We had light winds, sunny, and in the what was it, Secret, in the 80s every day.
Yeah, up to 90 the last day.
Yeah, started out in the mornings, 50s, 60s. One day it was a little chilly, but beyond that, it was just gorgeous weather. Bluebird skies are a little tougher, but it does help position fish in a lot of cases.
Oh, I got you. Good deal. But that's great you called. I mean, that's a great start. That gets you momentum going. It
does.
Yep, definitely. And all right, Secret, how'd your day one go? Did you kind of find something and have to adjust? But how'd your day one kind of go?
Well, it started out, just you could catch one here or there. They'd be just small enough. I mean, under the 12-inch limit, and that you had to measure them. And a couple of times I would almost have to throw it back. So there's no way. But I think the first fish that I caught that kept was 12 and 8 inches long.
Oh, wow.
And I sent it in on the score tracker or whatever. And I said, well, I finally got one. I said, I think it weighs 3/4 of a pound. So we called that out. I ended up culling twice, I think, that day. So, they weren't jumping in the boat.
Yeah, they made you work for it, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I ended up with a little over 5 pounds the first day in my 3 fish. So.
Not bad. Now, how that land you in the standings for day one? He's kind of top 10, top 5?
I think I was 5th. No, 6th.
No, that's good spot.
Yeah. And that day I was catching them on most of my better fish and most of my fish came off a shaky head, but it was a black Magnum trick worm. Everybody in front of me was throwing greens, and I picked up the black, and I didn't mind at all going behind them with that black for whatever reason. The water's clear. I don't know why the black worked, but it did.
Yeah, it seems like the black works better for me the same way in the fall and winter. Black always just works. I don't know why, but the same way here.
We done a little bit of the little square bill crankbait along the straight banks, and then throw in a jerk bait every now and then when you see the shad, pushing up around you. You just had to keep changing. You couldn't stick with one bait, or I couldn't stick with one bait.
So what's he was saying? You had to fish the moment.
Yeah.
And grind it out. Sound like you had pretty great start. So I got you a little momentum going as well.
We had some schooling fish around, but we couldn't get them to hit a crankbait. We couldn't get them to hit a jerk bait. Well, soft plastic jerk bait, a spinner bait, or chat. I had top water. They blew up. I'm popping my top waters at pop water, and the fish blows up like a foot to the left or right of it. And I'm like, "Are you blind?"
They had their coffee yet.
Yeah. So, mid morning, but it still turned out well on day one.
Oh, absolutely.
My stick bait was a Cheryl Bowden stick bait. It was the blue with blue fleck.
Okay. That blue's a good schooling color usually. That's good color.
Yeah, and the jig was a green pumpkin purple.
Nothing wrong with that. But hey, Secret, who'd you draw for day one? I forgot to ask you.
Linda Gessner.
Oh,
we went out in our order. How we ended up in the end of the season. So we were both number one and went out with her. And she's having a pretty rough time. She had her brother passed away literally, a week before the tournament. Wow. Her mother was still at home in Port Charlotte, Florida, and they were evacuating her. And all this was all going on while she was on the road coming to Oklahoma. And she's pretty stressed out, and she was just surviving. I mean, she was struggling, and she told me, she said, I'm just here. I don't know how good we're going to do, but she handled it well. And I mean, she done well, but she was struggling.
Absolutely. Well, prayers out to Miss Linda and her family. I mean, I was just strong just to make it there with all that on her mind, back of her mind. So that's testament. Show you how strong she is. So, Miss Linda, we praying for you, and you and Earth are some prayers. Got another comment just come in. Paula Duke Wilson says hello to some awesome ladies.
Hey, Paula.
I'd agree with that statement.
Had an amazing day one. I think she had big bag for the tournament.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Over 12.
She's kind of new on the tour, but boy, she's sneaking right there at the top real quick.
Yeah, that's a statement on day one.
Well, so those are a benefit.
Awesome. Can't beat that. Going in day two, was the conditions pretty much going to be the same, or how did day two kind of work out for you guys?
They were similar, but the fish changed. Changed. I went back to my same area. That was one of the concerns I had going into the tournament was, would the areas that I had found, would they hold up multiple days? And, by 10:30 on the second day, Susie and I, we milked the first area for as much as we could. I went to a few other spots. Day two, I had to move out of the first area by 10 or 10:30 because the fish weren't there, and I saw people in the pocket that I'd been fishing. Day one, I think I saw 2 boats. One going, one when I was leaving, and I think second day I saw like 5 boats in there. So I, just made some adjustments, and like I had did some things on day one. Day two, I fished the same baits, but just had to move to different.
Yeah. You think fishing pressure maybe got to them a little bit? Probably.
Well, I don't know. I just don't know that these fish replenish like a lot of lakes do in certain areas at this time of the year. I went to the back of one pocket, and I was like, there should be fish. I mean, there was big wood and deeper water, and by deeper, there was in this back of this little pocket 5 foot of water in some places.
Wow.
And of course, it did shallow up to foot and a half, and I'm like, I don't understand why there aren't fish on this. And so I cast this one log, and I made that comment to Cassie. I said, this is just wrong. In Texas, there would be a fish there. And about that time, it hit, and it jumped over the log and came toward me. That was my big. I was like, well, here. And so that was within the last hour of the day, and that was a pound cull that I made right there. And I ended up multiple times. Cassie called several times. But we hit a few different places and did a few different things on day two. I do remember she might have thrown a crankbait some. I might have thrown it just a little bit, but again, my predominant thing was a Texas rig stick bait and a jig.
Oh, standbys, can't go wrong there. But okay, Secret, how'd you do day two going in? How did you have to adjust, or you kind of had an idea what your motor was going to do?
Well, I had Ann Carmichael, and like you said earlier, I knew that there's going to be a little pressure on the spots because everybody's running down the same banks. But like Cheryl said, those kind of areas of fish aren't going to replenish not that quick,
Yep.
and they're just right back on them. And two, as a co-angler, you got that girl in the front that's pretty much singing the place. So you kind of have to watch, see where they flip. Maybe they might have flipped a little different spot, and you try to hit something different. And then two, that's just kind of what I do when we're fishing banks or structure around a dock or something like that. After the first day, and I know it's been hammered, I try to fish it out a little bit deeper because I know that those fish have pulled back a little bit. If you can find that first little step, down,
yep.
Usually they're hanging right there. And the way that the ladies hold the boat, it's almost right under you. So with me being in the back of the boat, I actually could wait till they got past it a little bit, and I could turn around and throw the crankbait right down that little bit of that ledge, parallel right out the back of the boat. And I probably caught more fish on the crankbait the second day than I did on my shaky head. But I had a little over 8 pounds in my 3 fish, and we got, I think I called 3 times, and she caught her 5th one at 3:00, and it was a big one. She caught a big one, and literally right after that, at 3:05, I caught my big one. Was it 3.99? It was almost 4 pounds.
Nice.
And when I caught that, she had pitched up and got hung up on a dock cable, and it just wrapped. She knew she didn't have 10 foot, so she pulled the boat up, and I was trying to do the parallel thing at the back of the boat while she was up there messing around. And she got in there so tight that she had to pull up her trolling motor and hang up on the cable to try to unwrap her. I think it was a spinnerbait.
Yep.
And she was up there wrestling it, and I just pitched out parallel on the ledge with the shaky head, that black trick or Magnum trick worm.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt the mushy just pull back, and I rear back and set it, and I missed it. And I told her, I said, I think that was a good fish just by the way it took it. Well, I turned around and I flipped out just a little bit deeper with it, and it thumped it, and it was the big one. Well, these fish are so small. I mean, really, Cheryl, there was no need for a net, was it? You didn't net nothing. I mean, if somebody ordered for the net, it was unusual. So we didn't use the net hardly, at all. Well, when I felt it, I said, and I had my back turned to her. I said, I might need a net here. I said, and I knew she was up there all tied up. Well, it come up and wallered around, and I said, and I said, can you get away from what you're doing? I said, I need the net now. And she finally started working her way back. She had to, I don't know, she ended up pushing a button. Her rod was still tied up to the cable up there. And so she came back with that fish, took off running around the back of the boat. And I had 2 rods. I was using 3 rods back and forth the whole time. Well, I had the 2 rods hanging off by the motor with my lures hanging down, a crankbait and a jerk bait. And that fish run right by the end of those lines, tangled up into both rods. So both rods started going off the back of the deck. She reached and grabbed them. She had the net in the other hand. I said, just net it all. Just net every bit of it. We'll get it up here. And she did. We had a mess when we got in that boat, but we got in a boat. Then we had to go up there and get her untangled again. So
that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen.
And we had to come in at 3:30, so it was basically our last fish, and we had to come in. So,
wow, that's when everything happens. Tangles up everything. She's trying to get untangled. That's when it always happens.
Yeah.
My day one with Susie net thing was not near like that. I on day one I missed a lot of fish. I couldn't get the hook in them. I'd see them, we'd get them halfway to the boat, and they would fade out.
Yep.
And I yelled. It was my second biggest fish, and Susie got the net out there, and she's bringing the fish in, and I'm like, "Oh, you just saved me." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "My lure. Did you not see my lure fly by your head?" The fish in. Yeah.
Wow.
God, I guess I did save it. Like that with casting on day 2, it was a good day. We both cold. That last one again was another pound and a quarter cold. So
it definitely adds up a multi-day tournament like that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Something 892, something like that. So I was a little disappointed that it was less than the second day, or less than the first day. But it left me sitting. After day 1, I was sitting in second. I think I was in 5th place after day 2.
Are you still striking distance? So you're still okay.
Yeah, there was only less than 2 pounds in first place. So
absolutely. Oh, cool. We got a couple comments coming in. I'm going to get it real quick. Here is Rhonda Pitts. She says, congrats again, ladies.
Thank you.
All right. And then Paula Duke Wilson said, y'all sweet, but it wasn't 12:10:55, so that must have been day 1. Hey, at least she admits it. So hey, that's off, Paula. Then you got a good memory. And yep. And then one last comment here. We got Misty Wiseman said, "Way to get it, ladies." Thank you, Misty. Appreciate it. But going into the final day, Cheryl, what was kind of your plan? Did you kind of hitting the same areas, or you trying to do some new areas? Or what was you thinking on the final day?
Final day, I was like, I was going to go back to the first pocket day 1, but I was going to go into a different arm, one that I had. And so I'm trucking down the lake, and we were about a little over 2/3 of the way there. And I looked over at Cassie and said, "I'm not doing it." And I just made a turn, and I went into Honey Creek. And it was the best decision I ever made all day long, was just to start there. We went into this first little point, and we were fishing. I was that time I was fishing point, so they were reporting that wind was going to be like 12 to 15 mile an hour, and I was like, well, it's going to be windy. I've got some points that are going to be really good. And so we're sitting in front of this little dock, and on both sides you got this point, but right there where it's really shallow. And just as we get there, we start fishing. This kid comes out on the dock to start fishing with the spinnerbait. So we cast up there a couple of times. We move out and get out of the way. And I start going around the other point, and I get bit. I don't remember if we got it in or not. But well, let's just go ahead and fish these docks. And then I had 2 fish within the next 15 minutes. So I was like, okay, this is good. Handle this. Went on back in the pocket. I missed a couple and came back on the other side. And there's this point, really big flat, and a point that drops off. And then there's another cut and another point. And both of us caught our next biggest fish right there on that next point. Cassie got her big fish, which was pushing 4 pounds. And mine was 3. I was sitting pretty at that point. I already had 3 fish in the boat, and it was maybe 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning. We went on back. I missed another bite on the dock. We fished that quite a bit, some more fish, and we just, there wasn't anything else there. Went on around, good bite on the dock, and I was like, I cannot have a. I missed too many fish or let them get loose. Went on down to this point, and I picked up another fish. She got one, but it was like a squeaker. I mean, it was like, it's going to shrink in the light. Right now it's 12. It's tough. And then, but that, I caught another one. So by that point I had my limit of fish, but it was a small limit. I only had about 6.5 pounds at that point, and still fishing the jig and the Texas rig Cinco, or stick bait, I should say. It wasn't a Cinco, but it was Terry's stick bait. We were to another pocket that the point's supposed to be really good, and all we could seem to do was get stuck. We were getting anything else, and I caught some kind of contraption that somebody was using. It was this big silver bait, had no hooks on it, but it had the big double lip, and on the tail of it was a leader with a little spoon, little rooster. And we hung up and all that, and I'm like, what kind of contraption it was? We cleaned it out, but I can't get hung anymore at this point. I'm done. So I moved back. Those floating mats that people lay out on. There was one on a dock, and there were a couple of turtles there. I cast over to the left of that, and a big one. And about halfway back to the boat, it jumped, and it was gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Cassie, I'm going to be really, really an unhappy person if that fish just cost me the championship. So we went on around, and then back through and went to another. I pulled out I got stuck in some brush and pulled the boat, flipped right back in there behind where I just cast and caught my next fish, and had about a 3/4 pound cull. Ended up culling a few more times. Cassie still only has 2 fish, and I'm like, I really hate for her not to have 3 fish. So I said, Cassie, pack up. We're gonna run. I know where I can get you. It's gonna be short, but it'll be a 3rd fish. So we ran into the back of the courthouse, and the bait fish in the back of the courthouse, you can't drive through the back of the courthouse with running over bait fish. It was just that packed.
Wow.
But none of them huge. So she ended up catching and culling back there. I made another run to another pocket, and I caught Nicole. At this point, my scale said I had about 10 pounds. 10 and a half pounds. We'll see, because sometimes mine way heavier than his or whatever. But it was a good day, and it was with Diana Eberhawk, actually, on day 3, not Cassie. Diana Eberhawk. Yep. Got her 3rd one. She actually culled. She actually culled in that last pocket we were in at least once more, so the little dinky one got to leave. But it was a great day.
Absolutely.
I ended up with 11.4 pounds on day 3, which gave me the 30.12 pounds.
Hey, some days it's your day. Even losing that big one, you still kept on grinding and didn't give up. But that's awesome. Got a couple more comments coming in, and actually one from the man himself, Mr. Travis Birch. Said, "Congrats, ladies."
Oh, thank you, Travis.
Thanks, Trav.
Hey, Travis, great season this year. You and your team, Steve, and the guys and the gals, awesome job all season, guys. That great season, and look forward to bigger and better things in 25 as well. And one more comment. This is my buddy James Watley. He's a co-angler like I am. He says, Rob, make sure you get any tips for Watts Bar from these two. We need all the help we can get. Watts Bar is above Chickamauga, and it's kind of a different lake. But hey, James, you need tips, just listen to Seeker. Whatever she does, copy it. That's all I can tell you. And one more, Miss Pam Horn. She says, how fitting for the new founders of the LBAA winning the end of the year classic, priceless, and congrats.
Thank you very much, Pam. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well said, Pam. Thank you for the kind comments, and I absolutely agree with you, 110%. So, but Secret, how'd your final day go, and who was you with?
So we line up on the final day by where your standings are from the 2 previous days. So
Right.
I was in first, and I drew Chloe. I had Chloe Barnum, the kid.
Yep.
And I had fished with her the only time that she fished before on bull shoals. So I come in the room and I had my big tackle bag, and I just opened the door and I tossed it on the bed, and I said, well, I don't need none of that crap for tomorrow, because I knew what we were going to be doing. I said I could probably get a Walmart sack of tackle and 3 rods, and I'll be good. Well, she was staying right there where we were, and I went out there to her boat and talking to her, and she's a forward-facing sonar guru, and she's really good at it. So,
yep.
But she does it in a manner that she will not shut you down in the back of the boat. I mean, you have as many opportunities as she does. I mean, she will tell you where to cast. And so anyway, that's what we were doing. We took off at 6:45. We run about 40 miles. I think we got down there around 7:30, and by 8 o'clock we were both culling. So that's how quick it blew up around us. It's just we went through a limit of 13 inches, and then culled out those up to, she did. I culled out a few, but she culled up to just 2 pounders, just underneath 2 pounders. And I think we could have stayed there all day and caught just 1 3/4 to 2 pounders all day. But, at some point you got to figure out, you got to do something different. But, of course they were coming up in the shad all around us, and they'd go down, and you could look on the side scan and stuff, and they'd be in 12 to 15 foot of water. And I couldn't just stand there and wait around for them to show themselves anywhere else. And we was using A-rigs, and I throw jerkbait a little bit. Well, then I seen that they were down there quite a bit deeper than what my jerkbait was even going. So I told her, I said, I'm going to put on a jigging spoon, start ripping a jigging spoon for them. So I put it out there, and I stroked it twice and nailed one. And I mean, every time I could flip that jigging spoon out there and rip it, I'd catch one every single time. And then one time Harvey Horn was up there taking pictures of us, and, still it was little fish, but you could do the jigging spoon, and when they'd blow up around, you pick the A-rig. And one time I had 2 on my A-rig, and I throwed it over in the bottom of the boat. She had 2 on her A-rig, throwed it over in the bottom of the boat, and then she had a sonar minnow, caught one. We had it all thrown in the bottom of the boat. We didn't even know whose A-rig had what fish on it with it. The only difference was she had green line and I had black line, and we could figure out whose fish was what. But we had about 30 minutes of a mess there for a while trying to get everything undone. And then we seen it. Plus, what Cheryl said, the wind was supposed to got up bad that day. Yep. She was respecting that wind. And when we got up there, she said, I'll go up here, we'll get our limit. She said, then I'm probably going to be headed back. She said, I'm not going. She said, I've heard horror stories of this lake, in the wind. So, and that's what we were planning on doing. It was a little choppy, going down there that morning. And it calmed down. She said, we're going to stay here about 30 more minutes, and then I'm going to head back. And, but it calmed down. Just as soon as we were talking about it, it calmed down. It was actually calmer that day, later in the day than it had been all week. And we had a little cloud cover that day too, so that helped for a while.
Yep. Absolutely, man. That's awesome. Going back to the ramp, you thought you was pretty confident you might pull it out?
No. No. Neither one of us.
You never know.
I was in 5th place.
Oh, yep.
5th place. There was 2 pounds. So I felt like I had a good bag, but, I knew that Vanetta and Jen and Chloe, and even Robbie, all sitting in front of me, they're good anglers.
Oh, yeah.
2 pounds between me, just a little less than 2 pounds between me and first place. I knew that if my bag was decent, but I really felt like in order to win it, I was going to have 12 to 13 pounds. And so Travis had both a Secret and I up there on the hot seat. I think they did the co-anglers first. Secret, is that right? They did you guys first?
Yeah.
She's up there, and so we shared the hot seat for just a little bit, and then, they start bringing up numbers, boat number 4, and have it announcing, she needs like 11, whatever, and the next, have 8 something. Well, she didn't have it, and the next one's Chloe. She comes up and goes, well, she needs 971 or 9 something like that to take up the scales, like 909, and I was like, yeah, I think you've got it. I said, I don't. I think those guys have better bags. So I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, because there's that last coal that I had that was about 3/4 of a pound coal made the difference, because I only finished out about 1/4 of a pound ahead of Chloe.
Wow.
And then Vanetta in third, and I think I was only about 1/2 a pound ahead of her.
Wow, that was tight.
Yeah. 12, Chloe's was 29 something, and so was Vanetta's. So it was really
wow. You was on the hot seat, literally.
When I went out, she's cutting out or something.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, Secret.
When I went out, so I think it was less than a pound between the top 5 when I went out.
Wow. Yep.
And it's hard to make up a pound with those fish. That's a good stretch catching. I mean, you got to get a big one to make up that pound, but still, I think. So you had Cassie, so she was in second, right?
Well, I had on day 3, I was in 5th, and I had Diana.
Okay, so Cassie, Diana, the little Carly,
Carly Joe,
Rhonda Pitts up there. Let's see, Charlotte Frazier was up there in the top, and all of us there's 6 of us, I think, within less than a pound. So, that's anybody's ball game. And Cassie had come in 2 days in a row with 2 really good limits. So, no, 5 pounds don't make you feel comfortable at all.
No.
But you still need that big one. If I'd had one good one, I'd been pretty confident. But no, not at that. Not on that lake. Not at that.
Oh, yeah, that was way too tight there. That was stressful. But real quick, Pam said I meant the original founder. Sorry. You're okay, Pam. I know that all correct. You go ahead. All right, and then Travis Birch, asked most of you here, said, hopefully everyone enjoyed the hot seat, unless you was on it, of course. Fun way to create some fun for the fans and anglers. I'll ask you, Cheryl, first. How did you like the hot seat concept? I know you was on it, so you got the best opinion on that.
I like it.
We shared it for a little bit.
Yep.
It's just a little tall, so it's hard to find. So that's the only thing, is that you're like, I don't want to make a fool of myself and fall off of it or tip over.
But yeah, that does kind of see, at least he say, oh, well, she needs like 10 pounds, or 11. So, but
I love that. I did. Yeah, it was because I didn't think I had to wait. It wasn't overly stressful. It was just a deal of, okay, am I going to finish up in second or third? That was really what I was thinking, because before the last 2 came up, he goes, well, do you think you've got it? I said, no, I really don't think so. I think one of those ladies is going to bump me off.
And it was close. It was close. Secret, how'd you like the hot seat? Did you like the concept? Or if you're on it or not on it, what did you think about it?
Oh yeah, I liked it. I was more worried about he had me and Cheryl both on it. She said, we'll put one cheek each on it. And I was more worried about the weight limit.
Hey, Travis, you have to get a second seat next year. Just say, I think you'll have a second seat next year. But sound like it went over well, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun because especially in the crowd, I seen Cheryl. She take a big deep breath and blow out like, oh, I'm missing out that one. It's fun to watch that person on that seat's expressions and stuff, so. Oh
yeah, or wipe the sweat. Whew.
Yeah, she's having a hard time breathing. I can tell you that.
I was.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I saw Chloe's bag and I'm like, I pull this off. And when I could see but from the back, I could see the scale reading, and I'm like 9, and I saw 90 pop up, and I'm like, you got to be kidding. And I don't know where it ended up being, but it was still had a quarter pound or something like
21 100ths, I think is what it was.
Phew. That's way too close for conference. But got a quick question for you, Cheryl. Travis said, how's Vegas so far, Cheryl?
fun. I'm not losing a lot of money. I'm not spending a lot of money. That's for sure.
But you are celebrating, though.
We are celebrating, absolutely. Having a time and stuff. We did the Garth Brooks show last night, so that was a blast. He actually brought out his full band, his road band, and 2 of his recording band, and then of course Miss Trisha came out also. So it was great. I have jet lag from the concert more than I do anything else.
But it's a good time, though. Good times.
It is.
Yep. And got a quick comment from Miss Pam Horn, and she says, the hot seat for the Ladies Bass Anglers Association is completely different because we care so deeply for each other. It's more of an emotional hot seat than competition. And I must say, I've never seen Cheryl Bowden nervous. I'll take it as a compliment.
I did. It is definitely an emotional thing. We did the ladies were amazing and the fans were amazing. I'm going to tell the story about Heather Broom. You may have to take over for me.
Yeah, go, man. Go ahead.
Western North Carolina, one county over from where some damage was. And I was able to her and ask her how she felt about us taking up collections for her to take back. And so I don't know what the end up total was, but these ladies are always super, super generous. We had people on their docks. First day of practice, this lady, of course, everybody wants to tell you how to fish and do all this stuff, and I can't get information. They just put things out. And she's asking, well, where's everybody from? And we told her where we were from, and Kentucky and Indiana and Florida and North Carolina. And she goes, North Carolina? Oh my gosh, are they okay? I said, well, yeah, she's here, and we're actually taking up donations that she's going to fill her boat and truck up to take back with supplies. So she goes, well, y'all don't leave. She ran up to her house, came back to 50.
Wow.
And then on the last day of the tournament, I'm trying to find, another area that have fish in it. And I told Cassie, I said, Diane, I said, this is the Dead Sea back here. And they've got these big fancy covers that they raise up with the pulley systems that cover their boats and stuff. This guy comes down, and I wish I could remember his name at this point, but I don't. And he was raising it up, and he was asking how we were doing. I said, well, it's the Dead Sea. He goes, well, no, not really, but, that's okay, too. And he said, are y'all associated with the Bass Pro Shops and the lady from North Carolina? I said, well, we have a here from North Carolina, and we're doing donations. He goes, okay, hold on here. He pulled a $100 bill out and handed it to me to give to her. I mean, everybody that we talked to in around whatever, they knew who we were, and they were so amazing. Our anglers were amazing. I want to say that Heather said we had somewhere in the neighborhood of like $2,000 cash.
Yep.
I had taken the money given to me and gone to Harps and purchased $165 worth, because we split it between Harps and Walmart. And then at Walmart, Heather had gotten a message that gift cards were going to be a better deal than buying supplies.
Yep.
So Walmart donated a $50 gift card, and I was able to buy five or six cards with the money the ladies had given me. So forth, and different people associated. So it was pretty cool. And then there were still people walking up and handing stuff at the weigh-in. So I don't know, Secret, you can tell more about how much stuff was in there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we ended up, so I mean, every day we'd come back to our room and there'd be boxes and bags sitting in front of our door. We had our room full. They had something over in the office there at the lodge. So late that night after tournament, we had a couple of guys was in there practicing for some big tournament coming in. We had to unload Heather's truck because we'd been stuffing stuff in there, and we had to load it back in order for me to dump out, and then her to move on. And then we had stuff here in Kentucky that she was going to have to pick up and put in. So they helped us. We was out there at 12:30 that night, getting it loaded up, and it was kind of like putting a puzzle together in that boat, putting stuff. So we had all the boxes full. We started at the bottom, come all the way up with boxes, up on the deck, center with boxes, and then we got the soft bags of clothing and stuff, rounded all the way around it, all the way up to where the cover was fit over it. So just mounted up till the cover fit over it. And then she has a camper shell topper on the back of her truck, and it was every single inch top to bottom. I mean, everywhere, and it just stuffed. So then we got back here to Kentucky, and my employment, they had taken up stuff. Well, there was no way that was going to fit in there. So we had to run back to my house and unload all my stuff out there to make a little room for her to get the rest of it in there. You could barely shut the doors. I mean, it's pretty amazing, all the stuff. So, I think she was overwhelmed. I don't think she thought that would be anywhere near. But and she had a hard time even coming to the tournament. She didn't know if she should, and she second guessed until up to the last moment until she said, I just don't feel right going. Here I'm loading up my rig, and I'm going to go over here fishing, and these people were out here suffering so bad. And then she said, well, Cheryl called me, and said that we were going to do this to try to raise the money. And then I think she had a lady there that was going to make her a T-shirt. And there was no way that the lady should have got this T-shirt made for her in time, but she did and said, come get your T-shirt. I got your shirt. And so she said, that's kind of a sign that she said, I wanted to do something. So I'm going to head to Oklahoma, and she's going to fill that boat truck up and bring it back. And she's got a load. I think they had to go right straight to her. She got a business done at Seal, but she had to go down there, and people helped her unload it and fill that up, and they were going to go through and start trying to distribute it.
Oh, that's awesome, guys. That's an incredible story. I mean, it gave her like a cause to go, and that definitely made her make the right decision, no doubt.
Yeah.
So look at what Pam said about it's an emotional connection for these ladies, for all of us. We're a family,
Yep.
We're different times, but we're a family, and care of one another as best we can.
Well, absolutely. Well, I come seeing you guys at Guntersville, and one thing that just blew me away is during weigh-in, every one of you ladies is under that pavilion, that covered pavilion. None of y'all left. You cheered everybody on, and it was amazing. But I really enjoyed seeing you guys weigh in, and it was a great day. I took my son out, and we had a good time. It was great.
I said in 2019 I got Angler of the Year, and when I spoke, all my life I'd played in sports, and basketball, softball, track and field. I actually played football in junior high one year. But the difference in the sports of it was, when I played basketball, I didn't like them other teams. I didn't like none of them personally. Yep. I wanted to beat them. I wanted to beat them bad. We shook hands after the game, but I'm telling you, I didn't like them. I didn't ever want them. So, and then when I got into the fishing, well, of course, I think it's a sport. It's competitive. Yeah. I love the competition. But the difference was, Pam Martin Wells, I wanted to beat her so dang bad, couldn't stand it. But, I didn't want to beat her. We were very good friends. I didn't want to beat her when she had a bad tournament, or when she just messed up, or she had boat trouble or something. I didn't want to beat her like that. I wanted her to do her best, and I wanted to beat her legitimately. And that was like everybody. Just, you've seen the emotion of stuff up on the camaraderie on the stage. I mean, I want to beat Cheryl. I want to beat Cheryl, and she wants to beat me, but I want her to beat at her best, and I just want to beat her a little bit. Just a little bit.
Get bragging rights. Get your bragging rights.
and we're going to hug and pat each other on the back, and we're just best of friends. We'll go eat dinner. And I didn't do that in all them other sports. That's just the difference in it, you know. And you want everybody, especially the young girls, the new girls. And it's 90% of the time it happens. They come in and they right off the bat, they do really, really good, don't they, Cheryl? And they'll do better than they ever anticipate them doing. And boy, does it get them addicted. And I mean, the two little young girls, Chloe and Carly. Oh, it's awesome to see them come up like that. And like I said, I've been with that Chloe. She's 18. I'm 62, and I mean, it's just amazing to see how she worked everything in that boat. And she's her daddy's worried to death about her in that boat, you know, and he's worried about the wind and the waves, but she's very respectful of the boat, but she got the knowledge and she definitely got the skills, you know, to do it. And them kids got stuff that's taken me and Cheryl 30 years on the water to learn, you know, and perfect, and they're doing it in 5 years. So
yeah, their passion is amazing. I'll agree with you on that.
And between girls and guys, if you get a girl that's really passionate about something, a female like that, boy, they're all in. And I think it keeps them kids a little straight, keeps them in a straight line from going to the bad stuff.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of compliment too, Secret. At the Gunnersville, you carried in Pam Martin Wells fish when she wasn't feeling so well. That was a great moment. I seen you help her carry her fish into the weigh-in. That was a great moment.
Yeah, she's going through some rough times too. And well, there's a secret to carrying those fish up there, and she knew I knew how.
Yeah, I hear you.
Soak up all that water and do it fast. but yeah, she was having a rough time, and shoot, I'd pack Pam up there if she needed it. I'd pack her up there and put her on the stage. So.
Yeah,
that'd be easy to do. She don't weigh about 110, so.
Yep. But it's just her just getting the energy and going out there and fighting hard, just go out there and fish, and that was pretty amazing. She's an amazing lady. My hat's off to her.
She's not a quitter.
No, absolutely not. No quitting her game. Got a quick comment from Travis Perch. Said Garth show there is amazing. I think she would, Miss Cheryl would agree with that.
So I want to take time to shout out. Obviously, I've got my sponsors and stuff, but to Cindy Adler Jackson and to Lynette Fitz. Lynette's my travel partner for the year, and then Cindy and I have been working together and collecting information and sharing information and stuff. And some of the things that she figured out in practice were really helpful. If it hadn't been for her, there were a couple of things I might have been way late, if at all, figuring them out. So I have to give her a shout out for that. And so appreciate that, those ladies. You know, it's been a great.
Absolutely. Any more? You got any sponsor shout outs, Cheryl? Any guys or ladies out there to help you or sponsor you or anything?
Well, I've got, of course, Fellows, Costa, Bass Pro Shops. I'm going to go brain dead. So Terry Bowden has been sending me some of his soft plastic, his shaky head jigs, and so forth, and bladed jigs. Aqua Marine for keeping my boat running, and so forth. Without them, those are the primary ones right there. Phantom Lures and Games.
Yep. Hey, look for them. You wouldn't be where you're at. So shout out to them. But hey, Secret, same way. You want to shout out to any of your friends or family folks or any of your sponsors, real quick?
Sure, always the family. They're the ones that they don't mind me going on the road, and sometimes they kind of push me when I don't want to go. So,
yeah.
And then High Tech Outdoors, I've had them since all my fishing career, and then Precision Sonar, that's where I work, and we've got a little bit of team of anglers. All the sales and people that work there are anglers, so we know our products, and it just makes it a little better. I personally want to thank Travis and Craig and Steve, because you see, when we give it up, you see me and Cheryl done a little better. So we don't have that stress, We don't have that stress. We don't have to worry about it. I done it a little quicker than her because I moved to the back of the boat. So that relieved a whole lot on me. And then now she's falling in there now. So yeah, it's unreal what you can. You can go out there and fish. You don't have to worry about the phone calls. You don't have to worry when you get back to the ramp. People just lining up, and just taking care. She'd be staying up. I've went over there and took the computer out of her lap while she was sitting up asleep. She said, "I got to do these pictures." I said, "No, you don't. You get rid of it." It was just on and on and on, and it just so much nicer that we can just really go out and enjoy ourselves, relax, and even think on the water, of what you're supposed to be doing. So, and it showed, and I just appreciate Travis and them for stepping in because we needed it.
Absolutely, and that's a big jump for some anglers. Secret going from the front of the boat to the back of the boat. Some don't transition, but you've transitioned well, obviously. So hats off to you.
I appreciate it. It's different. I kind of look at it as and I done it I told them I had so many health issues. I don't like to even say this because people are so much worse, but I spent my time trying in the down season, getting something fixed and rehabbing. And then I'd end up getting to a tournament and I'd end up fishing all year long, hurt or just not 100%. And, just the wear and tear on your body physically of pulling that boat, 600, some of them 1,000 miles across and taking care of it. And then you 4 days of practice. And by the time the tournament day got here, I spent, and it wasn't fair to my co-anglers or, anything else. And then I was always afraid that I was going to have to drop out. As a boater, you drop out, that hurts. The two are bad. So as a co-angler, anything happens, it don't mess them up. So so then when I did, like I said, I really was going to just sit in the back of the boat and enjoy my fishing and, but I got the competitive side kind of got to me a little bit. And I looked at it as, I wanted to learn from those anglers. And if I wasn't, I'd still be doing the same kind of fishing I always done, and I probably the same areas. And with me being a co-angler, them girls have made me learn something else or do something else. And it's fun, that's kind of my competitive part to try to learn what they're doing. And I would never had the opportunity to fish with these ladies. So it's really fun. I like it. Absolutely.
That's one reason I do what I do, because I love fishing different people and you get on different boats and it's a blast. So got a couple of comments just come in. First one is Cindy Adler Jackson. She gave you guys hearts, so shouting out a little love and respect for you guys. and then we got Heather Ann Herring says, "Congrats, ladies! Awesome job."
Thank you. I actually
Thank you.
At the restaurant Friday night after the tournament. So yeah, it was great to visit with her.
Oh, awesome. And then one last comment. Former guest on our show, Miss Jen Nolan, says, "Was blessed to have both on my boat this year as co-anglers. We love you both. So proud of y'all and this club."
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
Yep. And she said, "We got to learn from you as well," or two. So, yep. But that's awesome. And we're about out of time, but I'm going to do one quick. What do you think, if you had to choose one or two lures that made a difference and helped you win, what do you think those one or two lures was for the 3 days, you think?
For me, it was the jig and the stick bait. Those are the key things. I was able to use them all 3.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good standbys. What about you, Miss Seeger? What do you think? There's two lures or techniques that really helped you pull out the win on the 3-day event.
Number one would have been that shaky head Magnum trick worm, but it wasn't actually the trick worm. It was the color. The color,
Yep.
that plain black was because I was throwing behind the greens, and I don't know if anybody was throwing that, but I know it's not thrown very much. And I just had a little bit of a tweak. That's just a little bit made the difference. And then, of course, the last day, the A-rig, and I did pretty good on that jig and spoon behind that A-rig. So.
Oh, absolutely. You put the puzzle together quick. That's awesome. And we got one last comment from our old buddy Travis. Travis Birch says, "Appreciate the kind words. we couldn't do it without our families, like you all supporting our crazy passion of running tournaments. But I said again, guys, I mean, congrats. And like I say, great job. Got a win. There was some tough competition, tight weight sounds like. So y'all pulled it out. And congrats again to you both. And look forward to seeing what next season is going to bring us. And so me and John both, we enjoy Monday nights. I think we get more viewers and attention. And you guys deserve the attention and a little bit of time on the air. So we're happy to give you a kind of a forum for you guys.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you guys. An awesome season to you both, and hats off to you. And it's just about 55 minutes, so I'm going to let you off of here. And again, thanks for being on the show and being a guest. And one quick, Jen Nolan says, great show, great year. See y'all in 2025. So pretty awesome there. So again, yep, great season, guys, and looking forward to what's coming up. So, but anyway, I'm gonna get the right thing here. But anyway, appreciate you guys, and I'll probably catch a weigh-in or two next year. So if I catch you guys live again, that was a lot of fun. I want to do that again.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you guys. All right, y'all have a good night. Thank you.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.